out. You didn't come here for nothing. Here we go. Good evening. Today is Monday, November 24th, 2025. And today is also day 3 of me, Jillian Nayak and Soji, presenting to Deactivation Church. Now, perhaps it was a bit overzealous of me, but I decided to take a trip to Freehold Raceway Mall in Freehold, New Jersey to prepare and produce tonight's vlog. Well, you know, as far as overzealousness, often the remedy missing is conviction. Yes, light. Something we have a dearth of as we approach winter, if it's not here yet already. I came to this mall because mine is basically demolished and it's been repurposed into some outdoor complex in Eatontown. You know, as it approaches, it's easier for me to feel like, okay, we'll make use of it. You know, it's not a bad thing to have. Like with anything, it was hard to say goodbye to it. You know, it was a nice place to hang. It was many of my teen years spent there. You know, there was a time when it was quite populated, but it's a glimmer of the past now. Just how it goes. Now it is almost 9 o'clock now here at Real Raceway Mall, so of course on a Monday night not as much happening, but that's actually fine for me, I guess, of course, because I can have more space to myself to record this. But by and large, as part of the space is obviously visible here, it is fairly still active. I've seldom come here where it's like dead, you know, it really hasn't happened. Scenic shot. My mind is actually going back to when, fall 2021. I was on a date with someone. We went to Hot Topic here. Shortly before going to a Cheesecake Factory, actually. It was the Saturday before Halloween weekend. So it was like over a week before Halloween. No, not true actually, no. It was the Saturday before this thing called Cranberry Fest that happens in Bordentown. And, what the hell is this? Forgive me. This just stopped me in my tracks, Todd. Why? Like, it's unruly, honestly. You know, speaking of fall 2021, there are just some things that come a lot easier when your years have not added up as much as they have now. Sometimes I speak as though I'm like 45 years old and young, and I barely look my age, 28, almost 29, hopefully the most people, but I often feel very aged. Or at very least, very hyper-aware of the fact that I have lived a certain amount of time. Like, I might be young, but I'm not new. Here, say it again. What do you got?
All these shoes, there you go. Pick one out.
Oh, nice. Sorry, I can't. I'm recording something. Thank you. So in some way or another, it's just held against you. I mean, anything, really. Any sort of categorization, but especially age in some level. Maybe even then, it's further amplified by the fact that, you know, I go to a 4-year school, and I am relatively older than the population there, you know, who attend classes. I've made friends, to varying levels of depth, but I've also made antagonists. And I'm not sure if it's entirely me being hyper-vigilant. It probably is not. It probably is something that is quite present. But I definitely sense around me a certain level of controversy. And look, I get along with people. I also get by in my classes. That wasn't always the case, the latter namely, in prior experiences with college. So I'm grateful for that. It's much easier when you know what you're there for, and you can stand by it. Which, again, often does come with a certain modicum of age. Time keeps on slipping, keeps on. And with that, there's a great preponderance of expectation, stricture around how people enter or exit different age brackets and what they're supposed to do with that. And moreover, what they're supposed to do around others whose age bracket does not accord with theirs. And I wasn't going to get into this topic on day 3, but yet here we are. I really need to be more orderly with myself because, anyway, there will be a limitation on how much I discuss in depth as far as this topic because there's a lot to discuss with it. Keep in mind though, I find my age a bit ambiguous in how it presents itself. Looks scenic again. I don't know. Most people seem to gather the idea that I'm in my early 20s, and that's not the case. And then if they base it on maybe the weird details of how I carry myself, they might think I'm in my early 30s, which is not the case either. Side note, my professor this evening, who mind you is 71, but I digress, and I really appreciate him. We're talking about like vocal parts or not, and he typed me pretty casually as like a soprano. So interesting because he knows I'm talented, so he's heard my past voice also, as of at least recently. I think it's pretty easy to say that like I'm a sort of bigger one, bigger soprano and whatnot. And it was very interesting to hear that from him because for obvious reasons, it's just like I work hard to prepare. It's how I like to sing, it's how I like to experience my voice. I feel at home in it. That wasn't the case here years ago. Another side note, you might notice that I have a much less pronounced accent to speak, at least relatively speaking, in today's vlog rather than the last 2 installments. That's something I've somewhat trained away today. I've noticed that it creeps in a lot. Yeah, it's very easy for me to do that. Yeah. And I kind of wondered about why that might be the case, and I think I have some reasons why. I kind of came to noticing pretty epiphanically earlier today. In short, it's not just the occasional polyglottism that I exhibit or whatnot. That's a whole challenge in of itself to maintain or even attain that title with decency. And honestly, until I travel more, it'll be pretty brutal on me to have that identity. Something I still strive to legitimize for myself. But again, that posh foreigner way of speaking that I often slip into, I think it's a way to pointedly claim my own estrangement from other people. It's a way to justify my freak flag, as they call it. I actually got pretty damn candid about this with myself earlier on in the car. After going to Starbucks and I saw someone, one of the baristas, slightly quip to me in a British accent in mockery, I don't know what's the better word, of my speaking pattern. I kind of already was doing this, but I was berating myself for, speaking weird, like speak normal or whatnot I should do. And I was like, at a certain point I was like, I really can't do it. Meanwhile, 99.45% of my time on this planet has been spent in America, maybe at least. No matter how many languages I study and no matter how voraciously I study them, this remains the same. It's not a way to see myself as above others in any way whatsoever, but it is very arguably a way to legitimize myself. Or at very least, certainly a way to justify how estranged I feel from those who are not me.